back. Let's move to San Francisco, where the 49ers legend Jerry Rice says he wants his old team to pursue a trade for Antonio Brown or Odell Beckham Jr. Brown's antics are pretty fresh in our minds this week, and the often injured and emotional Beckham has plenty of his own baggage. Mark, who would you rather trade for, Brown or Beckham?
Man, you put it to me, man. This is a hard one for me, right? I'm playing the ultimate position of anonymity, and so if I was going to do it, I would go with Odell Beckham Jr. I just think that, and I keep looking back. Yeah, he's had some issues, but it hasn't been, I'm not showing up to practice, I'm not working out, I'm not showing up to meetings. And I can't help but think of this video when he actually signed that contract, and he had teammates, if you remember, that guy's videoing, they're singing the money, money, money. They're like celebrating his contract with him. At least that tells me that guys are in tune with Odell Beckham Jr. Like, they're there. Like, Antonio Brown feels like that family member to me that keeps on breaking the family rules and keeps on acting out within the family, and to the point where you get to finally going, hey, you need to move out of my house, right? You cannot continue to do the things you're doing in my house. Like, as a father, you get to that point where you're nurturing your kids and you're forgiving them for mistakes and you're trying to coach them up and you're trying to do, and eventually you get to a point where, like, if you're going to behave like this, you can no longer live in my house. And I feel like that's where Pittsburgh is with Antonio right now.
For me, I'm with you. I'll take Odell Beckham all day. And it's not about the stats and the numbers, because they both put up numbers. They both, given a great quarterback, will light the NFL on fire. But for me, when I look at Odell Beckham Jr., personally, I feel like he's gotten a bad rap. And some of it he's brought on himself, but some of it, when you look at it, it's frustration at who's throwing the football to me. With Antonio Brown, it's your, like, selfishness. Like, there is no validation to why are you upset? Well, with Odell Beckham, he has every reason. This has always been him. He's made Eli Manning better. He's extended Eli Manning's career. And so when I look at these two, there is no doubt in my mind who I would want on my team. It would be Odell Beckham.
Oh, boy. I guess I'm on an island here. Give me Antonio Brown. Give me Antonio Brown. Okay, first of all, Mark, amazing point with Odell Beckham is loved by his teammates. I had not considered that. That's true. But then it got me thinking about Pittsburgh and this Antonio Brown situation. So, guys, this story came out. It's been a week. Has anybody defended Ben Roethlisberger? Any of his players have come out and publicly defended Ben versus Antonio Brown. I know Tomlin's supposed to be a player's coach. I do wonder about the dynamic in that locker room. I don't know if it's all on Brown. Now, Beckham is younger. I think he's 26, but he's been injured. 3 of the 5 years he's been in the NFL, he's been hurt. We know he's obviously dynamic and talented. Some of the contract demands and getting that big contract. I would lean Antonio Brown. I think San Francisco would probably go Odell, but if I'm my New York Jets, Antonio Brown, 2 years, there's an out in the contract. Oh, my goodness. I think Antonio Brown, who led the NFL in TDs this year, I believe, with 15 receiving, I go Brown over Beckham.
Sam Darnold,
I'm going Odell Beckham for one reason. He's 26. Antonio Brown is 30. I mean, that right there is a no-brainer. He's 26 years old. Antonio Brown is 30 years old. Just from that, talent-wise, it's what and what. It's which flavor do you like, chocolate or vanilla? They're both ballers. It's what you said. And see, this Antonio Brown got his start. People remember now. Mike Wallace was a guy they wanted to re-sign.
Yes.
They did not re-sign him, and then they signed Antonio Brown. And at that time, everybody was like, what is going on? You let Mike Wallace, they've seen Antonio Brown in practice, but what has happened is they've empowered him so much in Pittsburgh. When they played the Denver Broncos and Ben Roethlisberger said, I should have thrown the ball all 4 times to Juju, that was the beginning of the end. You can't do that. Antonio Brown heard that and was like, we would never be cool. We would never be cool. And be like Odell Beckham. They both have every player has a bit of selfishness in them. Every player does. Every player. But just 26 and 30, I'm taking a younger guy.
Okay, hold on, Greg. Injuries, okay? Last 5 years, again, we talked about Odell Beckham missing parts of the last 3 years. Antonio Brown's missed 3 games in 5 years, okay? Now,
Do
Greg.
you count Sunday?
Yeah, that's counted.
Yeah, you don't even count that.
No, that's counted.
You shouldn't even count that
one.
one.
That is counted, TJ. Greg, I want to put back. You mentioned Odell has, helped Eli's career here at the end. You know, Eli statistically had one of the best seasons of his career without Odell Beckham this year.
Wait.
Beckham was hurt a lot of the year.
Listen.
He missed half the season.
When you are getting your butt whipped the whole game, you're going to throw for a lot of garbage yards at the. Hey, how many games have you played in?
TJ,
how many 100-yard games I had when we were getting beat? And I get like 60 yards on the last drive because they're garbage yards.
One of the completion percentage numbers, and one of the reasons, and this is why statistics always drive me crazy, is they get elevated. How many catches did Saquon Barkley have?
Yeah, a lot.
About 85.
They don't need Odell Beckham, Mark. They don't need.
You got to go with what works. But for me, when I look at Antonio Brown and the frustration where it stems from, is he knows that Pittsburgh Steelers organization. He knows what they do, and what I mean by that is they produce and reproduce wide receivers. He knows that. Look, it happened to Mike Wallace. It happened to Santonio Holmes.
Plaxico
Burress, Emmanuel Sanders. It can happen to me, but I'm trying to defy these odds by causing this big rift and say what I want and demand what I want and pose another angle to where these guys didn't do it to kind of shun off Juju a little longer than what they were able to do me. I just think that when it comes to that, I don't want to deal with that. The age, give me Odell Beckham Jr.
They're trading Antonio. If they don't trade Antonio Brown, something's wrong with the Pittsburgh Steelers. If culture and how our team is constructed and how it's ran matters, they have to get rid of him.
Yeah, I think I agree with all of you. To New York we go, where Eli Manning's future with the Giants very much up in the air. When asked yesterday if he's played his last game with the team, Eli said, quote, "We'll see." And Giants GM Dave Gettleman didn't exactly give Eli a vote of confidence. Listen to this.
I'm committed to making the best decision in the interest of the New York Football Giants. That's what I'm committed to do. We're in the evaluation process. Okay, I know that you guys want answers now, but very frankly, I didn't come in yesterday. So I've got to do what I do, which is get in my office and watch film. My commitment is to make this team the best team it can be. And if that happens to have Eli playing quarterback, it does.
Well, Dave Gettleman talking a lot about commitment. So should they already make a commitment? Should they commit to Eli Manning in the future this year?
I like what he said. I like his approach. I think Eli Manning is a part of their future, specifically just for one reason and one reason only, for time. For time's sake. It gives them time. It buys them time to find out who's going to take over at this quarterback position and lead this New York Football Giants organization and franchise moving forward. That is the only reason why I believe Dave Gettleman has a decision in front of him that is really simple. Unless you can clearly identify who you're going to bring in and replace Eli right now, Eli's your guy.
Here's what I would say about that, and I'm with you 100% because I look at it like, okay, who's out there? We're going to go out and get 11-year veteran Joe Flacco, who's hasn't had great seasons and is hurt this year and got replaced by, a rookie. Is that where we're going to go? Is it Nick Foles, who's really only had he's had a couple of playoff runs last year. Last year was great. Don't get me wrong, but he had the run in Philadelphia in the purely Chip Kelly spread offense. Now he's had a couple of playoff runs here toward the end of the season where he's played really well. I'm not going to take that away from him. In a open, kind of more wide open, collegiate type system. You're going to go to the Giants and Pat Shurmur where they're going to, that's not the system they run. The year before in Minnesota, they led the league in attempts, or second in the league in attempts. So I just don't know that that's a great fit. So is it Blake Bortles? I mean, which direction are you going in? I don't think there's a great. I don't think there's a great.
Blake Bortles. Oh my God!
What do you have against Bortles?
But there's no great direction there. Is any of those? If you go out and get I'll give you go out and get Nick Foles. But are you gonna say we're gonna get Nick Foles and we're gonna just dump Eli Manning?
How about this? How about Ryan Tannehill in Miami? They're clearly unhappy with him. They're moving on from their coach. Ryan Tannehill could be an option. Maybe Jameis Winston and the Bucs. I know they appear to be giving it one more chance.
Jameis Winston is not leaving Tampa Bay.
$20 million, smart move by them. If I'm the Giants, I just keep Eli. I know I kind of defended him a couple minutes ago. I don't think he was awful this season. I don't think he was a bottom 5 quarterback in the league. I really think that you draft a quarterback maybe second or third round, and then this is Eli's final year, and you draft a real quarterback in the first round the following year.
All right, I'm about to give the Giants a plan on how to proceed.
Okay.
This is what I do. I commit to Eli one more year, and the only reason is because I know we're going to lose. I solidify my offensive defensive lines this year in the draft, the 2020 draft, and free agency this year and the following year. I do whatever I can to draft Tua or Justin Herbert, whoever I feel is going now. It's showing if you have a great team around a rookie quarterback or a young quarterback on a rookie contract, you can be very successful. Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff, Mitchell Trubisky, Deshaun Watson. You can go on and on. Carson Wentz. That's the way the NFL is going now. Solidify your offensive, defensive lines. They already have a running back. They have the receivers. Solidify those guys up front. Draft a rookie quarterback in the 2020 draft, whether it's Tua or Justin Herbert, and you got a chance for the next 5 or 6 years.
Let me push back on that, and that's a great strategy. But, TJ, try to sell that to Pat Shurmur. Do you know how bad they have to be to draft Tua? Because he's a top 5 pick. You basically are saying, Giants, hey, let's just tank next year and get Tua.
You do whatever you got to trade picks to get. You talking about bringing in Tannehill. You're going to be bad anyway.
No,
you talking about drafting a second or third round quarterback. You're going to be bad anyway.
They can't be bad and get Tua because Shurmur knows, shucks, man, we weren't good this year. If I win 3 or 4 games next year, I may not be here.
But if you try to solidify that line, they won't be.
Yeah.
If you solidify that offensive line like the coach did with Andrew Luck, he'll have more time in the pocket. He'll have some success.
I like where you're going. I don't love it because of Odell Beckham. With his frustrations already with Eli.
Well, we already traded him to San Francisco.
with his frustrations already with Eli, you bring in a young guy who can't get him the ball the way that he wants to have the ball. That's going to create even more frustration.
If you're winning games, this is where the NFL is going. I mean, nobody thought Carson Wentz would come in and do what he did. This is the way if you get a good creative coach, Odell Beckham will get his targets. Now, will he get 120 catches? Maybe not, but you'll get 90. That's more than enough.
I feel you. Maybe. But coming up, did LeBron James just send a bad message to his young teammates? His former teammate, Dante Jones, joins the show, and we get into that coming up next.